step away to use the restroom one time, and all of a sudden, one of the fucking gayest songs from Yacht Club starts playing. What do we got going on today? I wanted to stream because I need to like stay consistent and put in some work. I need to put in some fucking work. Of course, it's gonna be like relatively short because I still got to go to sleep within a reasonable hour. But if it's interesting, then we'll see what we can do tonight. But where are we gonna start? Hi, Kathy, my goat, my goat. Chud W, Nick L. I told you this like 3 weeks ago when this drama initially started. I told you that this was gonna be a very easy Chud W. Right? I was right on top of that. I was like, Nicholas Deorio is obviously projecting here. He's obviously like fucking mad and insecure. I told you it was gonna be the easiest Chud Logic W of all time. You being like a Nicholas Deorio fan. There was before we get into like any like video, I think it's gonna be interesting to look through their subreddit clip live and watch people cope. Watch people cope. Hold on. Let's watch some people cope. Let's watch some cope on clipped live. Still a fan through and through. I'm sorry, but if you're gonna be a fan of like if you're gonna be a fan of Nicholas Diorio, you're kind of like you're living in dreamland. Nicholas Diorio is a fucking loser. All right, but anyways, somebody picked up a second job. Who's this supposed to be? Boogie? So Skibbity, look, you made it. Look, So Skibbity, you made it. You made it. You made it on the clip live for subreddit. Somebody posted Chud Logic's leaked DMs with Nicholas Diorio. Let's take a look at these real quick. At SoulSkibbity01, Chud Logic / Irrational Chud leaks Bridgeburn with Nicholas Pigrio. Pigrio? Whatever. Pigrio. / Nicholas Diorio. Wow. We saw these yesterday. I saw a clip of you saying, yeah, we saw these yesterday. I just saw a clip of you saying, I don't like you anymore. But you haven't answered a DM from me since September. Hey, man, I've had a lot and honestly, it's difficult to know what the deal is. We have gone our separate ways in many ways, and obviously, it does feel a bit shit that no one really likes me anymore from the commentary space. I do probably have issues with some of your coverage, but I don't want to keep talking about EHD, which, by the way, is a fair way to like diffuse any contention that they may have. But as soon as Chud Logic leaves, when Chud Logic states that he's going to do a little bit of banter, right? He's obviously stating that there will be a bits of banter, there will be a bits of like minor goofs and gaffs about the entire situation. Deorio goes like full opportunistic and basically decides to actually I gave everything this guy stood for. I gave everything to this guy. I gave this guy community. Like he's obviously leveraging the fact that Chud Logic is being appreciative of like the community interactions that they had with each other that gave him a little bit more notoriety within the commentary space, right? It brought him up a little bit. It's obviously like Nicholas Diorio being fucking salty and two-faced. Like, look, yeah, man, good luck with whatever you're doing over there. Look at him. Look at this. Look at this fucking snaky ass message. Look at this fucking snaky ass message. Also, what proof does Nick have about Chud's fans being the ones to make a website leaking Nick's paid Discord? What proof? No proof. He has no proof. He has no proof. He has no proof on that at all. There is no proof that it was a Chud Logic fan that made that website. There is no proof that it was anybody's fan that made that website. Right? We're in an age where everybody's discords are now under surveillance or everybody's Discord, everybody's websites are under surveillance for like archival reasons or drama related reasons. Sometimes just straight up content related reasons, right? Straight up content related reasons. Can you send me that, Armored Core? Can you send me that? Like for the same way that DGG is being constantly monitored for Destiny's like remarks and statements, the same way any fucking massive creators like public discords, if they have one, which Nicholas Diorio does have a very public Discord where people talk. Of course, there's going to be a mirror of it to archive and have information compiled on for the sake of like drama or future claims or future consistencies. But whatever. Let's see what Clip Live is crashing out about. Whoa, Nick, why you got to attack him with all that wishing him well and explaining how you feel stuff? That's cold, man. Because he's obviously doing it in a very two-faced manner. If he wasn't doing it, the verbiage and the language would be very, very different. It's very, very hostile language, you can tell. And we know that it is because Nicholas Diorio, infamously, with like previous people that he's been involved with or previous people that he's had to like burn bridges with. He has like notoriously has been like two-faced with the people that he's bridge burned. So like the Bo Black stuff is like the biggest example of that. I wish this guy well, but like I hope the best for Bobby, but if his fucking OnlyFans get leaked, I don't really care. Wouldn't dude, come on. Did he think this made him look good? Yeah, you covered things I don't want to cover, so I make jabs and then go, why does no one like me? Like, huh? Because you should be open to like take criticism if you're operating in a space where you yourself set the standard that being criticized is fair game, where self-policing is fair game. Nicholas Deorio has gone so much harder on his own friends in the past. Why should Chud Logic be any different? Rules for thee, but not for me type mentality when it comes to these fucking retards. Notice that the message that Nick said ruined his perception of Chud was not leaked until it's released. Chud is acting like Tom's accused of selectively releasing DMs. No, no. These people are all so fucking retarded. The way that was worded sounds like the conversation reference might have been a Discord call and not text messages. So even though I think this is all a terrible look for Chud, there might not be other relevant texts. It looks like they may have. Okay, this guy's being fair. Like this guy's being fair, even though they're obviously biased towards Nick. They're at least being fair. They're going like, you know what? Even though these text messages by themselves might seem like they're missing context, for all we know, there might not be any more context. There might not be anything more relevant here. It might have just been like a out of nowhere interaction that just occurred simply because somebody was feeling a certain way at a certain point in time, and boom, right? That might have been all there was to it. That might have been all there was to it. This person's being fair. Of course, it had come down from a shitter from Chud stream / spicy chat. These people are serial arsonists going around lighting both sides on fire just to keep themselves warm. All right, bro. All right, bro. This person is acting as if like there isn't people within. Why are these people like so one-sided? Why are these people like so one-sided? Do you not want there to be content? Do you not want there to be people to make fun of or like to like shit on? Shouldn't you want there to be a bunch of like arguments on both sides of the aisle so that you guys have infinite stuff to like be entertained at? Or do you want to just like protect your guy because he's your guy? Would have been smoother for Chud if he didn't have to be so content brain. We're talking about Nicholas Deorio and content brain. We're talking about Chud Logic, Nicholas Deorio, and content brain in the same sentences. Come on, bro. Chud Logic is back from his weeks-long vacation. Is currently live addressing the falling out with Nick. So this is posted by Shadow Army 229, infamous top 1% poster of the Nicholas Deorio subreddit. Some of the things he said on stream. Nick was holding a ton of resentment against Chud for months, but was too much of a spineless coward to openly say it, so he deliberately waited for him to go on vacation so that he can shit talk him in peace. I believe that that is a true statement. I believe that that is a true assessment. I believe that that is something that you can say reasonably and have it be backed by information that just like, makes it feel that way. Nick accusing Chud of sticking his audience. Nick accusing Chud of sticking his audience on him is hypocritical as fuck because Nick's audience brigaded Chud's comment section during his vacation to accuse him of sweeping, which is fair game. I think even though this is an extremely minor point, it's really not that important. I feel like this is an entirely fair criticism to make. He says that people were shit talking Chud behind his back at VidCon. Probably true. Augie is in a weird spot that he can't slightly wait. Augie's in a weird spot in that he can't even lightly criticize Nick at all if he wants to keep a relationship with him. This might be true. Chud has more YouTube friends after this, and that the only people that are still in his orbit are the spicy chatters like Queeman. Chud has no more YouTube friends after this, and the only people that are still in his orbit are spicy chatters like Queeman, Dickers, and Purple Perry Gaming. Great company to keep, LMFAO. I don't know if that's true. This is just not true. I think out of all of these people, Chud Logic would mainly just categorize Queeman as like somebody close by him. If I were to do like just a like surface level analysis of what Chud Logic's like relationships looks like in the background. That's extremely parasocial of me to do, but that's like something that I'm pretty confident in stating. He claims that he's saying the great sweep, and I mean, by the way, even if this was true, where his only friends were Dickers, Queeman, and Purple Perry Gaming, that shows a lot of like I want to say that shows a lot of character for Chud Logic. Chud Logic can go on stream and argue against Dickers, like against his own editor. He could obviously have like general like dislike towards Purple Perry Gaming. And still be in like on relatively good terms and still be friends with him. Even if this is true, that's not even a bad thing. That's not a bad thing. That doesn't paint him in a bad light. That shows that he's willing to maintain friendships. He's willing to move past certain like hiccups within his relationships to continue strong continue strong relationships, whether they're business oriented or whether they're like actually platonic in nature, right? This isn't even a bad thing. He claims that him saying the great sweep was on wasn't anything crazy at all, and that he calls the sweeper all the time by his chat, so he doesn't understand what Nick could possibly be angry at. Yeah, I don't care. I don't know why you would care about being called a sweeper, especially in a very very formative entertainment based manner. Chud is still. I mean, Nick has made crazier claims about certain people. Nick has called people anti-Semitic. Nick has, which by the way, in this day and age, depending on which side of the political aisle you're on, being called anti-Semitic is like a fucking grave sin. So of course, of course, that's going to be like all I'm saying is that you have no right to be mad at fucking at being called a sweeper of all things by Chud Logic, somebody that you don't even fucking value. If you're out here fucking calling people anti-Semitic, if you're calling people content thieves, if you're out here fucking smearing people saying that they're creating market replacements for Ethan Klein's nukes, when the reality is that these nukes, in specific, these reactions were not market replacements. They were not actual fucking content thefts, right? Chud is still seething about Nick's Ethan Klein coverage. Claims that Nick can't even think of taking back his audience because they're tired of him. Nick writing Ethan. Actually, good riddance. I don't see why this is an issue. He says the New Year's stream was the beginning of the end of his friendships with commentary. Well, sure, because it suggests, okay, I'm sure that many people in our sphere, or rather, I'm sure that many people in this particular sphere are not going to enjoy tolerating, because there are dynamics between friendships where sometimes you will know somebody who's like done something horrible, like potentially cheated on their girlfriend, like potentially had an affair for older individuals, right? They'll potentially dox somebody, and they're still gonna have like somewhat mutual acceptance by the people around them, because there's going to be this I want to say unconditional love of sorts that people have for each other, right? That's like a definitely true thing when it comes to just friendships in general. People maintain friendships with horrible people all the time because they're friends and they have a hard time removing their biases, right? I don't think that Chud Logic is that type of person. I think that once Chud Logic is aware of somebody being a fucking sick freak and other people are potentially covering for that sick freak, he obviously is going to create distance because he doesn't want to be near people like that, right? Some people have more principles than others. Some people are going to be more on their own moral chain than others. So, for example, or rather, not even an example, this is actually what occurred. During the New Year's stream, there was questioning about Destiny potentially leaking or potentially distributing what could have been revenge porn at the time, or which we actually ended up finding out was the case. And Chud Logic was one of the first ones to bring up the question to Nick and Turkey Tom about this whole Destiny situation, which is entirely fair, because why the fuck would you want to allow your friends to not want to talk about another potential friend within these within this circle that might have done something bad? Why would you want to be friends with somebody that is inadvertently, or rather unintentionally or intentionally, sweeping by not addressing the issues, by not making it an immediate cause for concern, right? Because at the time, Tom's reaction and Nicholas's reaction in tandem, by not saying anything or by not being a mediator here, was like, hey, we don't know if this Melina person is trustworthy. We don't know if this person is trustworthy. That's a crazy fucking bitch. But for all we know, that could have just been Destiny employing tactics to smear and to discredit one of his potential victims. So essentially, yes, I don't think that Chud Logic is going to be the type to want to maintain relationships with people that are willing to not look at their own friends and be like, hey, did you fuck up here? And if so, what the fuck are you doing, right? Obviously, there's going to be a downhill from there during the New Year's stream. He also says that Nick was silently seething about Chud publicly criticizing his Ethan Klein coverage, and that their friendship was never the same after that. I believe that this is true as well. I believe that this is true, not because of any definitive evidence, but rather a series of behavioral patterns that Nicholas has whenever he gets criticized, whenever he gets lambasted, whenever he gets mocked by anybody or ridiculed by anybody. He goes after Nick for blocking his critics on Twitter. Says that he can dish it out but can't take it, that he can't handle criticism against him, which is true. It's absolutely true. And he never engages with criticism. And he constantly brags about banning people who criticize him or who annoy him by bringing up arguments that he refuses to engage with. He's done that before, multiple times. He says milking content isn't the problem, and that the coverage not having integrity is the problem. He then leaves it up to his chat to conclude whether Nick's Ethan coverage contains integrity, so he's basically implying that it isn't, which is true. It doesn't. Otherwise, he would be getting into the legal arguments. He would be getting into the nitty-gritty. He would be getting experts and widening the sphere, widening the amount of coverage, widening the amount of content, widening the amount of stuff being produced within that content, which would only be a boon and benefit to him. It would circulate more like community interaction. It would bring in more viewers from different communities. It would bring in like different sort of flavors and tastes from different communities, right? It would interest more people. But he doesn't do that. He doesn't do that. He gives the most surface level takes, which he isn't intelligent enough to give about sometimes political or legal arguments, which is fucking retarded. If he was actually, if he actually wanted to cover this stuff with integrity, if he actually had integrity and he holds himself to such a high regard when it comes to covering these situations in a good manner, then he should be willing to engage with people that are far more intelligent than him, or at least more, I want to say, more like, what's the word? Have more expertise in certain, like, in certain avenues or in certain topics. There are so many things that I don't have time to include. But basically, his chat was clamoring for him to leak his DMs with Nick, and he eventually did so. Fire. However, Chud doesn't realize that he doesn't look good in those DMs at all, because there were absolutely zero necessity for him to go off making snarky jabs at Nick for his Ethan coverage. LMFAO. I'm sorry, but if you have friends in real life and you don't constantly, like, whip each other's balls for, like, jokes and gaffes, then what the fuck are you doing? Like these people are pearl clutching. These people are unironically being, like, such pussy pearl clutchers. You're telling me that you don't have friends IRL and that you don't engage in banter with your fucking friends? You're telling me that you don't constantly go like, well, what about that girl? What about that Stacy that you fucked 2 nights ago? What about what about that ugly ass Stacy at the club that you fucked 2 nights ago? You're a fucking animal, dude. You're a fucking dog. You'd fuck anybody. Like people do this all the fucking time. People throw jabs at each other all the fucking time. This is unironically performative, concern troll, pearl grabby behavior. These people are all Ian Joma wannabes. These people are all Ian wannabes. These people are all iDubbbz type individuals. Why the fuck do you care? All he had to do was just do his own thing and there wouldn't have been a problem at all. He also proceeds to leak a bunch of Nick's messages from his members-only Discord. Everybody leaks your stupid-ass Discord, bro. Shadow Army, I fuck with this guy because he defended me pretty fairly one time, but literally everybody leaks that Discord. Everybody leaks that Discord. Nobody gives a fuck. I got people from Nicholas Deorio's community who leaked me that Discord. Matter of fact, Felix, go fucking get me some fucking screenshots from that Discord right now. It's safe to say that I'm largely on Nick's side here. Sure, because you're biased. Chud clearly stated this whole thing by shit-talking Nick's Ethan Klein coverage, and is full-on surprised Pikachu about why Nick has an issue about it. No, he's not. He's embracing it. He's not surprised. He's embracing it. Like, he's actually, he's like, he's like living in it. He's like relishing in it right now. Also, Chud fails to take into account that the spicy chatters in his audience are way more insidious and rabid than any of Nick's audience. Also, look for any breadcrumbs they can. Spicy chat being way more, they hardly do anything. They literally hardly do anything. So, sometimes they fucking like try to like, bitch at me, or they try to like fucking clown on me, and it's like the fucking most unsevere clowning that I've ever seen. My own fucking server rapes me harder than fucking spicy chat ever does. My own server, my own server, which is more active, which is more popular, is more, well, not more popular, right? But it is, but at least my chat is more active than spicy chat. My own fucking chat rapes me more than spicy chat. So to say that it's more insidious is fucking bullshit. If this is the bar, then I'm willing to fucking call my community a fucking, like, community of doxers. Joke, by the way. Not true. But just to, like, put it into perspective, right? If he's willing to call spicy chat, which is basically just a bunch of people bantering with each other and just, like, fucking, like, whipping each other with towels, then sure, bro. If you're willing to call that insidious, then I'm willing to call my fucking community, or rather the community that I inherited, full of fucking doxers, even though it's a joke. Your YouTube chat can derail you better than spicy chat. That's true. Listening to this in the background after having read, okay, but anyways, listening to this in the background after having read this, while you do hit a lot of more salient points, no, I strongly encourage people to hear it for themselves just so they can get a kick out of the ham-handed tactics. For example, during the first hour of a stream, he'll mention something like, interesting that Tom's response came out while I was on my announced vacation. He's obviously joking. He's obviously joking. He is obviously just fucking around and, like, playing it up for content because he knows that it'll fucking spark a reaction. I can say I'm a serial doxer right now. I can say that I've doxed people all the fucking time. I can say all sorts of ludicrous shit, and I can say it in a serious tone. And I often do. But I'm obviously being facetious. I'm obviously utilizing, like, like language skills to make a fucking joke, to make an exaggerated claim, to make fun of something negative in an inappropriate way. As, like, while it's being perceived as serious. Come on. He will leave that idea to simmer for about an hour. Then, once he's confirmed he's in a footstep with chat, he will take a firmer position during the second hour, going as far as to state they did, in fact, wait until he was on vacation to fuck him over. I mean, that is true. Chud Logic has a tendency to be like, I'm gonna make this joke, but then I was like, you know what? If you really think about it, maybe there was something. Maybe there was like X, Y, and Z actually happening here. It's no longer a conspiracy. He has done that at points, but I don't really think he means anything by it. At the end of the day, Chud Logic's main play at content, the way that I interpret it, the way that I perceive him, is to try to cover the facts of the matter, and then his personal opinion is secondary. Right? Facts of the matter first, personal opinion secondary, and most of the time, his own personal opinions are going to be less leveraged than the actual facts of the conversation. This is why using a clip farmed for half baked, where Nick and Tom were discussing the I'm Alex release and how they coordinate to release during Alex's trip to VidCon as a proof of scheme against him. Which, by the way, I think that this is true. I think that they did coordinate to release I'm Alex stuff during an opportunistic time, which is still very snaky thing to do, but who fucking cares at this point, because Alex was obviously guilty. I remember Tommy C during their whole fallout mentioned how he thought Chud would stall gauge that sentiment before actually taking a position on anything. Fascinating to sort of see it in real time. Julians, we're all Julians. Yes, you guys are all retards. I was a fan of Chud, but I got exhausted of all the transvestigation coverage. Yes, I'm pretty sure most people on the other side of Chud Logic's community would agree to this. Sure, which is fine. I quietly stopped watching without a fit. Fair, yeah, fair. This person is being really cool, right? Being really, really fair right now. He can do what he wants, but it's stupid to bitch and moan about other content creators watching Ethan shit on diet items if it's your cup of tea, because clearly you're just petty that an audience is eating up. It's not that he finds it boring. It's that being performative and dishonest about it is really tiring to people who have an ounce of integrity, right? I like if you consistently have to for somebody who actually likes to dive into a conversation, right? For somebody who actually likes to get into the nitty gritty like me, if something is too time consuming to properly argue or to properly give coverage about, then I'm not going to touch it. I'm going to consider it to be really, really boring and really tedious. And if everybody else around you is not doing the tedious work that is required to cover certain topics, such as legal battles, right, which nobody here is an expert on covering, thoroughly, then of course you're going to be fucking bored by it, because you're not a legal expert. You can't say whether this is fair use or not. You can't say whether this is actually going to have X, Y, and Z effects. Of course it's going to be boring. Of course these topics are going to be boring, because if you don't want to consistently just do the bare fucking minimum and just on something that actually has very, very, very high what's the word that I'm looking for, stakes, then why, what the fuck is the point, unless you have no integrity, unless you yourself are not a principled person? What is the point of covering something half-assed? What is the point of covering something dishonestly, utilizing the same talking points that everybody else wants to hear, even though they're not true fundamentally? What is the point of doing that unless you have no principles, unless you are unintegral to your own morals? Of course it's going to get boring. Nobody with any sort of integrity would want to do that. I wish he would just own up to the fact he was probably resentful that an audience didn't find the subjects he covered as interesting. Which might be true. But who fucking cares? I would much rather cover boring subjects thoroughly than ever half-assedly cover anything and not, have strict standards on how I carry myself. Bro didn't even make a video on Aiden despite milking him for content. Why would anyone with common sense touch him with a 10-foot pole? Why would Chud Logic, be why should Chud Logic be forced to make a video on somebody who is, in the grand scheme of things, irrelevant? Aiden, in the grand scheme of things, and this is not a jab at Aiden, because Aiden has put in more work than I have and has done more more than I have in terms of building an audience. Aiden, in the grand scheme of things, is irrelevant. He doesn't mean anything. He does not mean anything in the grand scheme of things. If Chud Logic were to release a VOD on Aiden like tomorrow, the only people that would watch that content is just his viewers. Is just the community of maybe cap of 3,000 people. Maybe cap of 3,000 people, probably lower. So you'd probably get 1,000 or 2,000 3,000 views on that. Maybe if the rest of his fucking channel, maybe if the rest of his channel channel subscribers were actually interested in that, they maybe he'd get a max of 10,000 views. But if we go look at Chud Logic's channel, of course he's not going to waste his editor's time or his editor's effort to make a fucking video that is going to get less than fucking Tectone or Lakari or literally any of these other creators, right? Of course he's not going to waste his time on something that's going to get less fucking views than Nicholas Deorio. It's pointless to fucking scream at this. He Aiden might mean something within this small circle of people that grew up with RFC, that grew up with Nicholas Deorio, but ultimately outside of that sphere, nobody gives a fuck. So this is pointless, again, pointless bullshit. Pointless bullshit. If anyone is getting a great sweep done for them, it's Aiden. His whole drama basically only got covered by D-list because Aiden's friendly with all the big boys. Also, well, no. I don't like, this is not a sweep for Aiden by any means, right? This is not a sweep for Aiden by any means, but what Aiden did, again, in the grand scheme of things, when you compare it with all of the other shit that's going on, was like absolutely meaningless. It is entirely a moral condemnation type of argument. It was entirely a moral condemnation type of argument, right? Because the vast majority of us with this sphere, and to a certain extent, even some people in the larger sphere, care highly about doxing and protecting people's reputations to either not discredit yourself or to either not bring harm to other people. Of course, the only people that are going to care about something like that within their own community is going to be the people around them, not the people outside of that. Not the people outside of that. He doesn't even care about doxing because he's a fucking retard. I'm pretty sure Nick doesn't care about doxing because he's entirely for Ethan Klein subpoenaing everybody. I'm sure that Tom doesn't care about doxing because he's even said that doxing is acceptable within certain circumstances in the past on a certain stream. Which by the way, he said as a response to me when I was typing in chat saying that doxing is not acceptable under any circumstance when it comes to integrity. Maybe during like legal situations where somebody's like potentially committing a crime or where somebody needs to be subpoenaed for a legitimate issue. Sure, doxing might be acceptable, but I like either way. These are all positions that these like large people have had. Of course, nobody's gonna give a fuck about Aiden doxing because they see it as like haha funny. He's going after people that he dislikes. Fair game, right? Whereas the only people that are actually going to care about that to a high degree are people within the community that want Aiden to have a level of integrity, that want Aiden to have a level of credibility, so that he can also represent or be a representation of the community underneath like the larger commentary community. But because he isn't that representation, then of course he's going to be treated to like significantly, harsher standards in inner circle. But that's besides the point. I'm sorry, but realistically, what Aiden did doesn't matter. The outside perspectives, it doesn't matter to any other fucking aspect of any community except the one that we currently reside in. It's literally like nothing. It's literally nothing. The harm done is minimal. The amount of damage done is like unironically like and then again, this isn't the sweep for Aiden. I'm not even on good terms with Aiden right now because he's constantly fucking bitching and bickering at me. But I have to say that it is purely a principled drama. It is purely about the fact that he wasn't principled. That is all anybody cares about that shit for. In terms of actual harm being done, nothing was fucking done. Nothing was fucking done. Well, I don't want to say nothing, right? So like obviously a couple of people might have gotten away with that information and might potentially like be using it in like ACC spaces to give grief to other ACC commentators or other ACC members. But in terms of anything done widely, nothing is done. Nothing has been done. I'm pretty sure Nick did not like Chud's behavior during the New Year's stream, but aside from the Chud fucked us over, okay, I don't care about this anymore. We're gonna move on to a little bit of Chud Logic's Nicholas Deorio video, and then we're going to cover some clips from Nicholas Deorio himself, where he partially responds to Chud Logic. Where do we begin?
It seems like he's more an issue with the fans brigading him when you first called him a sweeper than you're actually saying that. The problem is, it wasn't predominantly my fans. I mean, was he even brigaded? I don't know. I feel like this is classic Darvo, to be honest with you. This is classic Darvo that's being engaged in. Bro, my videos were getting fucking raped, dude. Dislike bombed, fucking every comment was about, you're sweeping, you're sweeping, you're sweeping. So who's getting fucking brigaded exactly? And again, I don't give a fuck, dude. Fucking leave your shitter comments. But this idea that, he's some victim is so pathetic, dude. Let's get into it, guys. This goes back. This goes way back, okay, guys. That's wonderful. All this business with Nick, okay? Nick wants you to believe that I had some crazy take about the Turkey Tom thing. Wanted to make a bunch of jokes about me sweeping because I didn't cover his response because I was on vacation. This all goes back to the New Year's stream. That's the reality of it. How much drama came off of the fucking New Year's stream, bro? How much fucking drama came...
Wait, you gave me I got a timestamp 21 minutes ago and I just didn't even fucking check my Twitter DMs. Or my Twitter messages. Let me take a look at this.
Discord screenshots.
It's not a... Wait. Fuck off. It's not a safe space. Your friends put a bot in my server and put my paid Discord on my public website. My paid Discord. Wait, hold on. hold on. What's the Discord terms of service on subscription-based Discord servers? Discord terms of service, paid roles. I don't even think Nicholas Deorio even has like an argument here. Discord allows monetization of servers through official server subscriptions, which I know they have. Because Discord will be like, hey, want to monetize your community? How about offering these paid memberships? These features, part of Discord paid services, are regulated, with payments processed via Discord as a limited agent. Users cannot sell/transfer custom roles or accounts directly. Which, by the way, would be exactly like what the fuck is he complaining about? Does Nicholas Deorio have like paid roles integrated into his server as a part of Discord's like, you know, what's it called, monetization or like own monetization tools? Because if he doesn't, then this is a meaningless fucking argument. He's like if he doesn't, this is a meaningless argument. If Nicholas Deorio does not have monetization through Discord, and if his Discord is paid directly through his channel subscriptions, through his channel memberships, this is a void argument, because you're not supposed to be doing that in the first place. Like nothing is making your server exclusively paywalled, considering anybody can get in with a link without a membership. You're like what is this complaint? This is meaningless. You're not even entitled to you're not even entitled to complaining about this. Like, I could get a link right now and I could join. This is meaningless, and only fucking idiots are gonna eat that up.
Dude, what the fuck, dude? This is unbelievable, bro. Dude, what happened to this guy? What happened to this fucking guy, dude? What happened to this guy?
Monetization requirements. Creators must use the official server subscriptions or shop features. So this guy is like essentially selling his Discord through his YouTube memberships, which is a violation of Discord's terms of services, because you're not allowed to sell roles or access to to Discords directly, right? Which is essentially what's going on here. And he's monetizing it through a third party, depriving Discord of their own cut of money by making his Discord a paid server. He can't. Your friends put out a bot in my server and put my paid Discord on a public website. This is meaningless. Nicholas Deorio is way too ADHD brained to like actually make an argument as to why this is bad. It's a Discord server. Bro. At any point in time, somebody more popular than you can just make a Discord server, make it infinitely more interesting than yours without having it be paid. And then what the fuck are you gonna do? Sue them for making a market replacement? Come on, bro.
This is not the
site was taken down, by the way. I know.
Same Nicholas Deorio that I became friends with.
It costs $20 to get into his Discord. $20 a month. And wait. He's charging out the ass. Is that real? Hold on, I need to fact check this right now. Fuck. Where is memberships? All right, I need to do it. I need to do it on my own YouTube channel. I need to do it on my own YouTube account. Hold on. Researching. I'm going to go look. I'm going to go look right now. Discord access. Nicholas Deorio 2. $19.99 a month. This guy is seriously selling channel supporter ND2 $49.99 a month, and the perk is ad block forgiveness. Dude, this guy is so fucking full of himself. Dude, you gotta be fucking joking. So not only is this guy voiding Discord terms of service, by the way, by directly selling memberships to that Discord through a third party, but he's also fucking complaining about it as if he's entitled to making his Discord exclusive to his membership. How are you ever supposed to enforce this? How do you feel entitled to complain about this? And he's also like narcissistic to the degree where he's like, channel supporter, ad block forgiveness. All right, dude. You're what a fucking loser. Shut the fuck up. Actual fucking actual Jew, bro. Actual Jew right now.
Maybe you think that's cope. Maybe you think that's fucking cope, okay? But come on, dude. There's no way Nicholas Deorio from 2024 acts like this. This is fucking ridiculous, bro. There's no way. There's no way, dude. The John Wick of commentary. The John Wick of commentary. Crying about people screenshotting his members' Discord. Pathetic.
I know, and he's not even entitled to it. He's not even entitled to the complaint either. He's literally just complaining to complain because he's fucking mad. Like, what is this supposed to mean? What is this supposed to mean? Typically, people like say these things, right? Typically, people say these things to say that like their intellectual property is being infringed upon, like something that belongs to them is being infringed upon in some way, right? Like they're being wronged monetarily, whether they're being wronged because there's just something infringing on them. But in this case, nothing is infringing on you. You don't own that Discord server, and you're not entitled to it. By like Discord owns your Discord server, right? And you're not entitled to like the monetization because you're not even doing it through Discord's like like monetization tools. So like you're just complaining to complain. You're just complaining to complain. It's not a safe space. Your friends put a bot in my server. Who cares? Your friends? How do you know this? How do you know that this is true? How do you know that this is true? Kathy, where are you? Send me the screenshot that's relevant to this. I know Kathy has information that's relevant to this right here. But that's actually so fucking pathetic.
More of the New Year's stream, dude.
I've never seen you before, but you came into my suggested because I watched Chud Logic. Thank you for being here. Appreciate you.
So before the New Year's stream started, Nicholas, Big Nick, Pigolus, FFW, as I've heard him be called, which I disavow. Terrible term, okay? He didn't want to talk about the Destiny stuff, and I was fine with that. I was cool with that. If they didn't want to talk about it, fair enough. If they didn't want to talk about the Destiny stuff, I understood that Tom was in a position where he's kind of still in his orbit and all this shit, and I was like, okay, whatever, right?
Which is entirely fair.
And I think Nicholas maybe had some wind of like some of the stuff that was going on behind the scenes. But then he brought it up on stream. And then people started saying stupid things about it. And me being me, I cannot sit there and have people say stupid things about a topic that I disagree with and bite my tongue. I have to say something about it. I have to say something. I have to comment. I have to comment about it, dude. I have to speak. And I just felt like people were just saying stupid things about it. So I just said my piece and challenged people a bit on it. Do you know what I mean? I didn't ask the question. I believe Nicholas brought it up. And the reality is, that was like the start of it. That was the start of my issues with these people. Because, you know, from there...
Yeah, they did bring it up twice in the New Year's stream. I think I referred to that earlier. I referred to the particular, like, to the specific discussion about Destiny potentially disseminating, like, sensitive material, in which, like, Tom's argument was that who cares about Melina, because Melina is, like, not to be trustworthy, like, preemptively sweeping for Destiny, even though we didn't know who was actually responsible for, like, or who was, like, in these videos at the time, right?
I think Turkey Tom got, like, a bee in his bonnet about me because he felt that I was being challenging. So he apparently turned out not liking me off the back of that, which I didn't really know or understand. Willie Mack, a few months later, I think took issue with me challenging him about some of his tweeting and some of his takes about the Destiny video that he did. Again, something that wasn't really made clear to me. And it just was sort of left with us not really speaking anymore. And then it turns out later during the Tommy C drama that Willie Mack had some fucking big issue with me, apparently, right? And so I think that was really the start of the end. That was the point at which people were like, yeah, this Chud guy can't really be trusted. You know, he's
just like how Tom went for BPD girls like Destiny. It's okay. Like I said before, I don't hate Tom, but I do think it's funny to make fun of him. The same way it would be funny to make fun of anybody if their, like, personal interactions got leaked. I do think it's fucked up that it got leaked without his consent, to be very clear. But disregarding, like, the personal messages, we're just mainly going to talk about the stuff that he put out on his own YouTube video, right? We're going to talk about the stuff that Tom himself put out on his personal YouTube video, right? On his own YouTube video addressing the allegations, to be very clear. Not talking about any of the stuff from the Kiwi farms. So Tom's own messages Tom appears to me to like Tom appears to be like a very, very cautious, frizzless chud, for lack of better words, right? Every single time he had the opportunity to flirt with any of these women or to like sexually engage in a conversation with these women, he would do like the most tame flirt. Which, you know what, I get it, right? Because he's a public figure. At any point in time, if he was like actually getting fucking dirty in the DMs, he could be like exposed, right? I think for people like Tom who come off as like particularly riskless or uncharismatic, it's incredibly easy to like target mentally ill women, right? Because they develop like really easy dependencies on people. And I'm not saying that Tom is doing that to like leverage their mental illness, right? I'm not saying that Tom is doing that to like leverage any potential like vulnerabilities that they may have, but more so I'm saying that because of course terminally online YouTubers who hardly go outside, who spend most of their days editing videos that don't really like to flirt or partake in flirtatious behavior. Of course, they're going to like predominantly have mentally ill women be attracted to them and be engaged with them, right? Because it's incredibly easy to fucking get mentally ill poon rather than fucking going out to the club and talking to some random bitch that already has her like super high standard set on like some fucking Chad, right?
I mean, I don't know how they framed it exactly, but I think from my perspective, I just was a bit challenging on points. So yeah, I think that was the start of it, but I still had like a friendship and a connection with Nick, you know? I guess like there's probably some behind the scenes.
I mean, to be fair, if you're not to be fair, if you're a YouTuber and you're not responding to like potential flirts or potential solicitations, like expecting them not to be leaked someday, you're doing something wrong. You should expect that every conversation that you have with anybody ever gets leaked. You should expect that every conversation as a YouTuber that you have with anybody ever at any point in time gets leaked.
Conversations that were happening that I wasn't privy to. But I think it started this kind of like negative perception of me that was being shared amongst these people. Obviously, I've got no visibility of that and I can't see that. But that's.
But dude, this fucking thread is so fucking like unfavor like this fucking like arguments, the way that they're being presented here are being like presented here in like such a biased way towards Nick. Like he's obviously speculating here. Whereas this person here is taking what Chud is saying as like a definitive statement, as a definitive claim. What Chud Logic is doing here is that he's speculating about the potential reasons why these people have grown distant from him. Reasons being is that Chud Logic has put Tom on the spot on more than one occasion. Chud Logic has also been the person to ask Tom to clarify the Liam Donovan cheating situation, which Tom did address on Chud's stream. Chud was also the main one to break the Destiny question during the New Year's stream, which I'm pretty sure all of these people were aware about. And probably didn't want to discuss in full because it would make them look bad for avoiding discussing, like, one of their own friends or somebody that they're closely associated with. Let's not forget that both Willie Mac and Tom went to visit Destiny for their election stream, if I recall correctly. Nicholas Deorio also had those people on call during the election stream when Tom and Willie Mac were in the restroom, right? For those of you who recall that stream. Of course, they're going to, like, have communications in the background where they're like, this Chud Logic guy really just fucking burned us, didn't he? Like, of course, it's fair to speculate that perhaps this group of friends are going to ice you out without you knowing, right? I feel like that's an entirely fair speculation to make.
That's my perception and my belief, is that they started to talk a bit of shit about me, you know? And then a few months later, there is the immortal clip. There's the immortal clip that caused tremendous psychic.
And you know what, Hick Fury? I don't even think that there's a problem with that. I don't even think that there's a problem with that. So long as you communicate that you're not like emotionally invested in a person, I think it's entirely fine to be interested in some bitch purely for the sexual aspects. So long as you say, hey, I don't really like, I'm really not like, emotionally invested, that's fucking perfectly fine.
Damage.
They absolutely were trying to eyes shut out. Yeah, and by the way, that's not even like an insane speculation to make either, because over the course of 2025, when Tommy C was feuding with Queeman and Beckett by proxy, he would continuously drop hints about Beckett potentially shit talking Queeman, and not just that, he would continuously drop hints about people like Tom, people like Nicholas Deorio, people like Willie Mac, also talking shit about Queeman in the background, and also, additionally, right, because of the relation to Queeman, Chud Logic, because they perceive them to be snakes or people that are willing to fucking stab them the moment the good gets going, like, the moment the going gets tough for a little bit of content, right? That has been Tommy C's entire like arguments the entire time, and nobody has come out to contest these things either. Nobody has come out to contest any of that throughout the last couple of months or throughout the last year. Nicholas Deorio hasn't combated it. Turkey Tom hasn't combated it. Willie Mack also hasn't combated it. It's almost as if they're perfectly fine with people being aware that this group of individuals, this group of friends, Willie Mack, Tom, Tommy C, Nicholas Deorio, do adamantly dislike Chud Logic. It's like they want it to be known.
This clip was, I believe, the dagger in the heart of our friendship, but we didn't know it at the time. It's as dry as the fucking Sahara, unless you're willing to do the 20th stream sucking off fucking Ethan Klein. Yes, I'm talking about you, Nicholas Deorio, okay? This, ladies and gentlemen, was the start of the end for me and Nick.
Dude, Chud has gone harder on me for less, dude. Come on.
Afraid to say
over very, very small stuff, but like, you know, and it's completely meaningless. But like, if like, again, I'm gonna put myself into comparison here because I can't recall anybody off the top of my head. Well, actually, you know what? We can use Dickers as an example, right? Dickers fucking exploded. Chud had exploded on Dickers, and Dickers didn't fucking cry foul for fucking days on end, or using like an opportune moment to, like, you know, fucking snark him behind his back. You know who did though? You know who gets like a slight bit of a slight bit of, like, you know, a jokey crash out, and fucking then crashes out afterwards? Nicholas Deorio.
Hindsight now, I can see it all so fucking clearly. We ended up putting this up as a segment, okay? At the time, I had Nicholas in my fucking DMs complaining about this stuff, to put it simply. And the thing is, I did like Nicholas, and I did value what he'd done for me. And I didn't want to get into a big fucking blowout fight with him over fucking Ethan Klein coverage. So I said, you know, maybe we could have a conversation at some point and hash some of this stuff out privately, because I knew that he wasn't really keen to come on stream, and I wasn't necessarily keen to have like an on-stream conversation at the time either, right? I didn't follow up on that, and we didn't end up speaking off the back of that privately. And from there, I guess we've just had, like, you know, occasional backwards and forwards DMs, but nothing particularly crazy. Just occasionally touching base on this drama, that drama. But then it got to a point for me when, to be honest with you, it just felt like the friendship was just kind of a husk. The friendship was just kind of like a husk, basically. And honestly, it felt like the only time that he reached out to me was almost like touching base, almost like checking in.
Yeah. That's what I said yesterday. That's what I said yesterday as well. Upon looking at the messages. It seems like Nicholas Deorio only messaged Chud Logic to essentially, like, you know, try to, without, right, in a very, very feminine manner where he's being very, very indirect, very, very vague, but you still know what they want. Why did you say that? Could you explain to me why you said that? Like obviously giving off energy that they're upset about it, right? So they want you to respond with the obvious answer that, oh, I'm sorry if that was fucked up. I'll refrain from doing that from now on, right? Yes, Nicholas Deorio is obviously only touching base because he wants Chud Logic to bend to his will. Because he wants Chud Logic to stop giving him shit. Because the only person, I believe, or like the only two people that are capable of doing any meaningful damage to Nicholas Deorio would be Chud Logic, or it would be somebody like Queeman. Somebody like Queeman who can make an explosive video on him if necessary. Or somebody like Chud Logic that already has like a very, very good, like, you know, ground and a very good subscriber base that can pull together a decent amount of viewership and algorithm hit. And just, like, you know, go to town on Nicholas Deorio for being a fucking loser. Right? Like it's incredible. Like these, of course, Nicholas Deorio is only going to have issues against these people because they're the only two, like, real threats against him.
You know, almost like check it in to see, is he still on my side? Is he still going to kind of, like, you know, be relatively reasonable? Is he going to turn on me or something like that, right? So it just felt like it was a bit of like a game. Like we had this friendship, but it wasn't really a friendship. I felt estranged. I felt like he didn't really like me that much anymore. And no one else liked me anymore. But I couldn't really put my finger on it. And that was kind of it, really. So it got to a point where I just stopped responding to him. And he would send me a DM and be like, hey, or like, you know, something like that. And I just stopped responding to him. And then I made...
it's like a battered ex, dude. It's like a battered ex. Chud Logic is a battered ex in this situation. Poor guy. It's like you just quietly quit the relationship, and then your ex is coming back for like seconds. Hey, Hey, can you meet me out in the Wendy's? Can you meet me out back in the Wendy's? Can you meet me out back in the fucking Wendy's for a little conversation?
Some comments about him to Pisco. Do you remember that? I made some comments to Pisco about how much Nick blocks people and that I felt estranged. And guess what I got when that started getting shared on social media? I got an angry DM from Nicholas, didn't I? I got an angry DM from Nicholas. Nicholas was in my fucking ear once again. Chud, I've tried to be your friend. I've tried to message you. What are these comments that you're making? Right? And once again, I tried to play the fucking peacemaker, because this is the thing with Nicholas Deorio, dude. This is the problem. Okay? He wants to have a private conversation to cool things down. And I, to my discredit, criticize me for all this if you want to. I've allowed that to happen. And I've been like, do you know what? I do like Nicholas. I do appreciate what he's done for me. I don't want to get into some fucking fight over this. Okay?
Whoa. Morale Live rating me. Morale Live rating me. Thank you for the raid, Morale Live. Very much appreciated, buddy.
Yes, I have been a pussy. I have been a pussy. Call me a pussy. Certainly. Certainly, yes. Okay. And here's the thing. I see people saying, but you ignored him, right? So when he came to me and said, you know, you made these comments on stream, I said, well, yeah, I feel a bit estranged. Obviously, none of the commentary guys like me anymore, which kind of sucks, right? It kind of fucking sucks. And then Nicholas reveals to me, and I didn't actually know this at the time, he said that he'd gone sour on me over this stuff and how we...
Dude. He said that he's gone sour on me over this. Dude, it's really like a fucking rules for thee, but not for me. You're telling me that Nicholas Deorio can make fun of fucking Bo Black's small, fucking misshapen, phimosis cock on a regular basis, but he can't be like, he can't get criticism for how fucking dull his content is, bro? So it's okay to like talk shit about your, like, you know, your friends, like, you know, very intimate features. It's okay to like talk shit on your like ex friends, very, very intimate features, right? But the moment somebody criticizes you for your content, it's like, you know, obviously in a very performative manner for the sake of, like, you know, content. It's a fucking problem. It's a fucking problem. What a fucking pussy, dude. The Nicholas Deorio is the most fucking thin-skinned little fucking weasel of all time.
Spoken privately, and I hadn't followed it up. So he was challenging the idea that I was estranged, and it's like, well, you're telling me yes, I was estranged.
Wait, that's a very good point. Nick uses Aiden for being like, Nick uses Aiden during like while he was a child, right? Nick uses Aiden's, like, you know, old stories when Aiden was a child to make fun of him and to, like, you know, put himself above Aiden and to, like, you know, make himself look good and on stream all the fucking time. Like, oh my god, do you guys remember that one time Aiden? You guys remember that one time Aiden did this at VidCon and right behind him was this fucking person? Look at how fucking stupid Aiden looks. You're telling me that you're allowed to, like, fucking make fun of Aiden all the fucking time. You're telling me that you're allowed to make fun of fucking Bo Blacks all the fucking time and all these people that you used to be former friends with. But the moment somebody like Nicholas Deorio, the moment somebody like Chud Logic, like, just makes fun of you for, you know, drooling over EHD content, it's a fucking problem. It's a fucking problem.
You're telling me, yes, I was estranged because you upset me with this and how you handled it afterwards. That I didn't really want to fuck.
Nick went on Aiden's stream a few days ago. Yeah. So like, you don't even have to like, you can't even use the former friends excuse. You can't even use the former friends excuse. It's very obvious that Nicholas Deorio does, like, hold a relative amount of favorability to these people, because these people in his eyes are too fucking weak to do anything against Nicholas Deorio. And Aiden will never have the fucking gall to go on stream and be like, hey, this fucking Nicholas Deorio person is a fucking fat, thin-skinned little fucking loser. Are you so mad at Deorio?
With you anymore. So I said, listen.
I think he's fair in his coverage. You're obviously trying to one guy me.
We don't have to have a big blowout fight if you got some issue with me.
Any other day, I would go through with the one guy. But right now, I'm like just low on energy.
We can just go our separate ways and call it a day, and that can be the end of it. We don't have to have a fight like we always do. And he seemed at least somewhat accepting of that. And he said, well, good luck with whatever you're doing over there. Or something.
Can you switch to your alt account, White-Handed Devil, where you actually agree with all of my takes instead of disagree with them?
Like that, right? It was a bit like, okay, well, that's a bit weird, but okay, I guess that's that then. I guess we're just not going to, you know, play any games anymore and just go our separate ways. Toxic relationship, right? And then after that, the Turkey Tom stuff happened, and I think it just set the grounds for Nicholas to take great issue with me talking about the big sweep perhaps being on. He took that very personally. And yeah, he went into this massive fucking tirade privately after that stream. Felt very much like, you know, like this is going to be the constant flow with Nick. It's that I'm going to make some comment on stream, and he's going to come angrily to me privately. We then have a private conversation, resolve it, but nothing's really resolved. And there's still this underlying tension. And those messages were the first time that I realised he'd had this problem with me about this and how it happened afterwards for months. So yes, I was estranged. None of the other commentary guys like me anymore. And Nicholas had had this issue with me for months that he hadn't really expressed and just hadn't really kind of been honest about. So yeah, it was just this kind of unending underlying tension. Dude, this idea that I'm some fucking snake when people are waiting till I go on holiday to start talking all this fucking shit about me.
Which is true. This is not even untrue, right? I can like it's very obvious. You don't even have to be Chud Logic to view it that way. It's just true. Like as I said earlier, when you look at all the information that came out from Tommy C and all of the leaks that he did and all of like the, you know, complaints that leaked through his mouth that other people made, people like Beckett, Beckett mainly about he was like very, very vague about Beckett towards Queeman. Like people like Tom and people like, you know, Nicholas Deorio saying, oh, they don't like you that much, Chud. They didn't like you that much, Chud. All because of that Queeman fella. They don't like you that much anymore, Chud. It's very obvious that yes, there was like a level of like, you know, animosity brewing in the background. Anybody could fucking clock that shit from a mile away. Anybody could. So people are pretending that Chud Logic is like fucking crashing out and having a fucking meltdown, right? Having a fucking meltdown over him being estranged and him being fucking iced out by the friend group. But no, that's exactly what was occurring. And everybody besides these fucking losers can like, you know, could have put two and two together for whatever reason.
Are you fucking serious, dude? Literally, what have I done wrong here? What have I done wrong? How am I... Dude, it's insane. It's fucking insane, dude. I'm responding to some deranged attack that this fat loser made about me when I was on holiday and wasn't really in a position to respond. Okay, fine, I'll show it. Fuck it, I'll show it. Fuck you, Nicholas Deorio.
Fuck you, Nicholas Deorio.
Fuck it, I'll show it. Fuck it. Here we go. Here's the fucking interaction. So this is obviously an example of me not responding to him. I just saw a clip of you saying, I don't like you anymore, but you haven't answered a DM from me since September Lamau. I did try to keep comms open. Hey man, yeah, I've had a lot on, and honestly it's difficult to know what the deal is. We've gone our separate ways in many ways, and obviously it does feel a bit shit that no one really likes me anymore from the commentary space. I do probably have issues with some
I already made my conclusion here. We're gonna skip through this. I don't really care about it. Like I'm watching 5 minutes of repetitive content. We already made our conclusions here. He basically ended up confirming my conclusion, which was that obviously he feels iced out. Obviously he feels like these people are like, you know, being opportunistic. Feels like Nicholas Deorio is being snaky. I'll fuck it. I'll skip it a little bit ahead.
Stuff. I am a softie, bro. I am a softie. And also, I don't
What? No, you can't be saying that, Chud. Come on. You can't be saying that you were a softie after you tried raping Aiden over the fucking Go Cato True and Void bullshit. My bad. Right? And then raping Dickers over the fucking interview with what the fuck was his name? The otter guy who fucking plagiarized, whatever.
Fucking have some blowout fight over fucking Ethan Klein.
How is your chance to become Chud's co-host? No.
Coverage, you know what I mean? But that's the problem. That's been my feeling about it. It's not worth having some blowout over this. But Nicholas didn't agree. Nicholas, rather than say plainly what he felt or hop on a stream to talk about it or whatever he wanted to do, has been holding this and seething for fucking months. And then it all came out with the Turkey Tom drama.
What are those words being used? What words? Can you put the words in quotations real quick so I can identify them?
Not even necessarily all about Nicholas, by the way. People want to act like my entire comment was about Nicholas. This whole sweeping thing, dude. I was, yes, obviously on stream I was being provocative, right? And I was talking about maybe the big sweep's going to be on or something like that. But I made it very clear in follow-up tweets that I was also talking broadly about the space, and I was talking about obvious resistance to cover the Turkey Tom stuff. People want to now act like Turkey Tom's response, which is apparently good now, somehow undermines the point that I made about there being a hesitancy to speak about it in the first place.
Which, Again, the reason why they're making such a big deal of this, specifically, is because they think that it's directly targeted towards them. When the reality is that, yes, everybody had a hesitancy. Even if they feel like it was directly targeted towards them, everybody on YouTube did have a hesitancy to talk about it. Because we know for certain now that Tom did have like a lot of pull in the background with a lot of different like commentary streamers. And a lot of people idolize Tom in the background. This is just true. Tom would invite people to parties. Tom would hang out with a lot of people. Tom made a lot of friends. And you know what? Fuck it, right? Like, of course, people are going to have like a harder time talking about somebody that they view favorably, especially if this person was like, relatively generous or relatively like, kind-hearted in the background, which I completely understand, right? However, if you're willing to go so hard at somebody for things that you care about to such high extents, like fucking Collargate, right? Like Collargate, and not even look at the caveats, not even look at the potential nuances, then what's stopping you from going after somebody who potentially might have done something more morally condemnable who's your own friend? It's obviously because there's a fucking bias. It's obviously because there's a fucking bias.
And it just doesn't. It just fucking doesn't, bro. In fact...
Are you in the Turkey Tom files? No.
If anything, looking at the response to Turkey Tom's response only proves my point fucking further, dude. Because every fucking channel has picked this up like that. The second the fucking response has dropped, everyone's fucking on it like white on rice. Everyone's making a fucking video about it and talking about it because Tom is perceived to have responded well to the allegations. So all this commentary...
Which, by the way, I clocked that there was a bit of dishonesty with Tom's video. Like almost immediately, I sniffed it. Okay? Almost immediately, I sniffed the fact that there was dishonesty with Tom's video. In Tom's video, he's very obviously utilizing screenshots that favor his narrative to a T. That favor his very, very specific narrative. Now, that's not to say that he didn't beat the allegations. That's not to say that he didn't have a point, that he wasn't, in the right. But it's more so to say that the way that he presented that he presented the information that he had was done specifically to benefit, to end up winning more by presenting it as a bulletproof, video when there's obviously dishonesties sprinkled throughout. Like he never fully addressed the bruising that girl's face allegations, right? He kind of just glimpsed through it, and she didn't really talk about it either. And he also made the claim and assertion that sometimes these nudes were sent unsolicited by said woman. That wasn't true, right? It's obviously him trying to smear and discredit these women as much as possible. And to be fair, they did lie about him, right? They did lie about him, but it's still him leveraging lacks of information or lacks of context that some people wouldn't have to make his response significantly more bulletproof, so that he now has this shield of criticism in the future from any potential allegations or any similar criticisms again. And also, Brandon Doxter, preemptively.
Chud was so wrong about this. No, I was correct. There was an obvious hesitancy to not talk about the allegations when they first dropped. Okay?
Don't sweep for lying points.
Now that could be for a number of reasons.
I'm not sweeping for lying points. I think that these women are dishonest. I think that they were deceptive in the way that they presented it. I think that, of course, that they were probably trying to make mountains out of molehills or try to make extreme arguments where they didn't really have to, like Sacramento attempting to make the claim that she was violated by being recorded during sex, which again, without knowing the dynamics of the relationship, we wouldn't know whether that was a consensual or non-consensual interaction. It's purely an allegation. But furthermore, right, if Tom is presenting his story in the sense that he's leaking all the DMs, all of the information, to make it seem as if he was completely wronged, then he should have leaked all of the DMs and he should have been fully transparent. He should have bitten the bullet on in certain degrees. He should have said, yes, I did request nudes. Yes, I did DM this woman first. Yes, I did ask this woman to fly out on these occasions, did this and did that, but he didn't. He made it he made himself look as good as possible throughout most of the video, so that again he could have a larger shield when it comes to any criticism in the future, so that it's significantly harder for anybody to make an allegation in the future. And now he gets to benefit from that, because in case there is any legitimate allegation in the future, then nobody's ever going to take it seriously because he's already been smeared once, right? It's like the halo effect that you get after beating your allegations. He should have been transparent about the fact that he did solicit the nude. He should have been transparent about the fact that he did, what's the word? Reach out to these women first, or that he did have like some mutual interest in some of this like sexual interactions. Right? There is a tad bit of dishonesty within that video. Is it massive? Does it change status as as beating the allegations? No, it doesn't. However, I still think that it is entirely fair to criticize those small dishonesties.
But there was an undeniable hesitancy, and massive channels didn't pick it up. But they did pick up the response. But they did pick up the response very fucking quickly, didn't they? They did pick up the response very quickly. Now, why do you think that is? Why do you think it is that some of these channels that could have covered the original allegations but didn't bother and instantaneously covered the response, why do you think they've decided to do it that way? This, like, I get it, right? I get the fucking meme. Oh, Chud. Oh, you were calling everyone a sweeper, but now you're on vacation. You're not covering the response video. Aren't you kind of a sweeper, dude? Well, I get it. I know it's fun to be smug.
How often do you stream? Not often enough, to be honest with you. Not often enough. I've only streamed twice in the last week, and today's twice. Twice in the last week, and today's twice.
Even if it's not really honest and correct, okay? Because it doesn't really get to the heart of what I was talking about. But can we be fucking honest about something? Do people really think that I wouldn't have covered the allegation?
If someone is willing to make small lies like that, they're willing to make larger lies as well. I don't entirely subscribe to that idea. I feel like that's used out like as an opportunistic point to try to like get somebody to crumble on a potential larger lie. But some people are the opposite. Some people are willing to lie about something small, but unwilling to lie about something larger. Usually, what prevents somebody from lying about larger things when they make small embellishments or small white lies is the fact that the reason why they make small white lies is because they have a guilty conscience that will prevent them from making larger lies.
If I was streaming the Wednesday after it fucking dropped, that would have been the first thing that I fucking spoke about, having covered it so fucking extensively. But people want to do this gay meme where, because I was pointing out that people weren't talking about the video initially, of, oh, well, now you're not talking about the response, so you must be fucking sweeping. First of all, question, was it planned? Was it fucking planned? Possibly. I don't know if there's good evidence of that. But the timing is very fucking convenient, bro. This video fucking...
Okay, this is just a Chud getting, like, obviously, upset and angry. Of course, he's just, like, spouting bullshit because he's, like, very emotional. I don't think that he means anything by this, but fuck, it's funny to make fun of.
Fucking drops the second I'm away. And then all these fucking people start banging on about, oh, Chud sweeping, Chud sweeping, Chud sweeping. I don't know, dude. I guess you can make your own mind up. But it does seem kind of suspicious.
Using the small lies suggests that there might be bigger lies. Argument mainly works when you're confronting somebody. Like if you're willing to lie about this small detail, who's to say that you're not lying to me, like, about this larger detail, right? It works mainly in confrontations when you're having like a debate, or when you're having like an interview, or when you're like interrogating somebody. When it comes to like in practice, I highly doubt that people that are willing to make small lies are going to like be opportunistic liars at every twist and turn. Is that Nick on the left? I just noticed. Yes, that is Nick on the left. He's my co-host. He's my co-host. As you can see, he's my co-host for tonight.
Also, the other thing I want to point out with this fucking ridiculous and deranged fucking tirade that Nicholas has gone on, there was nothing stopping Nicholas from doing this when the allegations were happening originally, before the response came out. You know that me and Nicholas had a massive fucking debate in our DMs on Twitter about this topic. We also had a debate, me, Augie, and Nicholas, in a group chat as well. And this was around the time this was happening. Nicholas was complaining about...
But in case of the Tom video, you could put him in question in case he lied. Yes, but the thing is, the only person that managed to come out against Tom and say that he lied and proved it to a very decent degree would have been the second girl, the Clorox Katie girl. Sacramento is yet to provide any information that meaningfully disproves anything that Tom said, and even then, what Clorox proved Tom lied about. It isn't a kill shot. It isn't it isn't like a fucking bullet. It isn't like anything massive that definitively proves Tom being a liar when it comes to beating his allegations. Wait, I'm actually very confused. What are the critiques for Nick? I'm not in the community a lot. He seems like an okay dude. Well, the main critiques for Nick is that he's very audience captured, right? And when you're audience captured, just to go through like a path of like the path of somebody who's willing to do certain things. When you're audience captured, you're willing to do anything to maintain that audience, especially if you're getting like a decent amount of like benefit from it. In this case, there's obviously a monetary incentive for Nicholas Deorio to be audience captured. Part of the critiques when it comes to the audience capture thing is that Nicholas Deorio got really, really popular this year, essentially dick riding Ethan Klein and not giving very, very strong critiques against Ethan Klein's actions. At this point in the drama cycle, at this point in the drama sphere, most people have caught on to the fact, including people that were once supportive of Ethan Klein a couple of months ago or last year, have now caught on to the fact that Ethan Klein is a slimy individual that is obviously suing people to like silence his opponents. And he is obviously doing opportunistic things and like utilizing the law to strong arm people into like, humiliation rituals, or to strong arm people into shutting the fuck up, or to like, just not be existing players in this community. If Ethan Klein were consistent about these things, he would sue more people, not just these people. It's obvious that Ethan Klein does power moves like these just to get a one up against his enemies. In this case, his most contentious enemies being Denims, Frogan, Casey Tron, not really relevant here, but Hassan for being relatively involved with these three women in general. Right? Most people can see through the farce now. And if you don't, then I'm sorry, but you're blind. Because Nicholas Deorio did very, very uncritical coverage, he's kind of locked into a position where he has to cater to a audience of people that give him a lot of money, first and foremost, that want to defend Ethan Klein, want to defend Ethan Klein no matter what. Whether Ethan Klein lied, whether he's dishonest, whether he's a hypocrite, they want to defend him no matter what. Because they're completely bought into the Ethan Klein ecosystem. Right? Most people probably realize, even within that community, that Ethan Klein is a deceptive ass individual, but they refuse to like step back from it because they've already like invested so much. Why not continue like and see it all the way through, right? Because of that, Nicholas Deorio has burned a lot of people that he used to be friends with, that used to respect him, that used to think well of him for like having strong principled positions, which has now kind of like made him spiral out and hate certain people and like detach from like the main commentary scene, and kind of like hold positions that he wouldn't have held a couple of like years ago, or that he wouldn't have held a couple of months ago. So essentially, the main criticisms is that Nicholas Deorio is dishonest. He's a hypocrite. He doesn't hold the same standards that he wants to. He's a fucking pussy. He's a coward. Sorry, those are synonymous to each other. He doesn't engage well with criticism. He bans people that are willing to give him criticism. He's willing to burn people that are willing to give him criticism. Right? Essentially, it's just like the biggest bitch made loser, victim Andy you could ever like, put your eyes on, that somehow got rich doing it. Check what I sent you. Okay, let me take a look. It's gonna be in inbox, right? Topic suggestions. Disgusting unemployed Reddit moderator slandered me. Watch first 30 seconds. Let's take a look.
Hey, what's going on? It's Nick. Instead of just cutting the stream VOD into a low-effort video for my second channel, I decided to compile
Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Nick.
All relevant clips that I've done this year covering the YouTube drama subreddit. This way, I'm including all of the context that I've talked about thus far in one easy place to consume it.
Do people see how this fucking works? You give all these concessions, and before you know it, the criticism of them just gets fucking squashed and it disappears. When there's plenty to fucking criticize with this person. They are a complete freak, power-hungry, loser Reddit Janny. And it's fine to point that out,
No fucking way. A year ago, Nicholas Deorio was using Chud. Was using Chud as an authority figure for his stream. A year ago, Nicholas Deorio was using Chud logic as an authority figure for the arguments he was going to make in this stream. That's fucking crazy. That's fucking crazy, dude. What a fucking... See, this is exactly one of those things that I was talking about. He's so inconsistent. He's so inconsistent.
He's swinging his audience into him. And we had a big backwards and forwards and talked about it at length. We had a big backwards...
How do you feel about Frogan and Denims? I couldn't care less about them. I think they're cringe and fun to make fun, and like, easy to make fun of, because they cover like, socialist and like left leaning politics in a very, very obnoxious way. That obviously like makes that depopularizes it and makes it like, very, very uninteresting to engage with left-leaning politics. But I think that their heart is in the right place. They're just incredibly obnoxious people. They are incredibly obnoxious people. Is it? And they preach like the very very common tanky like talking points that a lot of leftists think are cool and like in like a vacuum, but obviously come across as like very fucking grating in in a public sphere. But I don't really think too negatively of them now. Besides the fact that they're just obnoxious women.
Forwards at length. I can't show. Well, I could show the Twitter DMs, but I don't want to leak all the fucking DMs.
I don't feel they're very educated. They're not. They're not. I mean, they're reasonably educated in some left leaning like political ideas, sure. But they're like very, like obviously just obnoxious, yes, vindictive women that are fucking annoying to like interact with her.
Okay, I don't want to leak all the fucking DMs.
What are the odds of Denim's winning her lawsuit? It's entirely dependent on whether the main whether the main argument being used is going to be the content nuke reaction. Which if that is the case, I think that the odds are fairly high. And if it's mainly based on Denim's restreaming an entire podcast episode, which was also included in the document, then she might have an issue fighting that one because I'm not too sure about whether she gave like a good enough reaction on the podcast episode.
And some of them I can't because it's a group chat, and it's like, there's been leaks from that group chat before. And there's been leaks from that group chat before. It's the one that Salvo leaked. Listen, I don't want to be in the same footsteps as Salvo, okay? Huge tirade, Chud. He talked a little shit. Stop being in your feelings. Okay, this is fucking Cope, dude. He launched a fucking deranged 40-minute segment or something I saw. Talking about me and talking shit about me. When I was on holiday, when I was away. And it's...
Am I wrong? I thought that was the... Wait. What do you mean? What do you mean? I thought that was... Okay, you can't... Okay, the argument, the market replacement argument doesn't work. A market replacement argument does not work because there's no coordinated... There's no evidence to suggest there was a coordinated attempt to siphon views from the launch of Ethan Klein's videos specifically towards Denim's. I'm not so sure about Frogan's case. A lot of people will cite Denim saying, "Thank you for not giving this horrible video views. Consider subscribing or dropping a membership if you enjoyed watching it ethically." Right? But the thing is that for that to have actually been a matter of intent to create a market replacement, not only would that have had to have had more emphasis in the then and now about this being a market replacement, but also it would have had to have been said prior to the video being streamed in full with minimal reaction, right? However, that's not what Denim's did. Denim's said that that after the video, after she was done with the video. So it can't be intent for market replacement. That doesn't work. Market replacement argument doesn't work. So the only other argument that people utilize during this case to make the market replacement argument is that she was apparently messaged by one of the mods, by one of the Snark community mods, to say that, "Hey, Denims, I think it would be a really good idea if you stream this." Denims never saw the message, as far as we know. And it would be extremely difficult to prove that she did see the message. And even then, it would be extremely difficult to prove that Denims did coordinate with this individual to, actually create a market replacement. It doesn't seem like that's the case, right? If anything, the main people that were attempting to quote-unquote create a market replacement for this content were the Redditors in these subreddits themselves, saying like, "Hey, if you don't want to watch this video, then why don't you go watch Denims cover it, because they're going to be covering it anyways," right? It's not Denims particularly coordinating it to create a market replacement. It's everybody else but them, right? It's everybody else but them. So the market replacement argument doesn't even fucking work. However, people, how the fuck did I just say that word? How the fuck did I just say that word? However, in the case of Nicholas Deorio, he will continuously lie and say that they did attempt to coordinate a market replacement, that Denims did not provide sufficient commentary when it comes to the content nuke, which isn't even true, because I reviewed the content nuke not too long ago, and I noticed that Denims actually gives more relevant commentary to the content nuke. And Nicholas Deorio gives, relevant commentary to any fucking stream he's ever done ever. And that's not even a joke, because part of the arguments that Ethan Klein uses within his legal document or his introduction document, when the video first released, right? I'm suing these three creators. Are part of the arguments being made is that Denims often goes on irrelevant, dribbles or goes on irrelevant tangents that have no relevance to the content nuke. And also he cites how Denims isn't properly educated enough or properly informed enough or doesn't give enough information about the, Jewish, plea or the Jewish plight to like give, beneficial enough transformative commentary, whatever. If that's true, if those are like legitimate arguments that Ethan Klein is using, then Nicholas Deorio would be guilty of like not making transformative content and for like making market replacements and for making like, content theft to like a fucking extreme degree, because all Nicholas Deorio ever does is just fucking like watch videos and then make fucking pop culture references every 2 minutes.
All stuff he could have spoken about before I went away. He could have spoke about all of this before. We'd spoken about it privately. We'd spoken about it in our DMs. We'd spoken about it in this group chat, right? Tom's response doesn't really change the dynamics of what I was saying beyond some smug posting about the sweeping stuff, right? True. But the reality is, okay, and here's why for some people this has seemed so like, what? Nicholas is cutting Chud off over this. What? Huh?
I feel like sufficient commentary is so hard to find. I think that's one of the primary reasons why that case is going to go nowhere. I think that I'm at this stage, I'm starting to believe, and I feel like most people are starting to believe this as well. Or rather, I've been believing this for quite a while now. But at this stage, I think it's becoming more obvious to more and more people. I think Ethan Klein never intended for this case to go through all the way. Right? I don't think Ethan Klein ever intended for this case to go through all the way. I think that Ethan Klein felt like that these women were gonna fold immediately and not put up this much of a fight. And now we're gonna reach a conclusion where potentially he might only win against Frogan, which won't even mean anything. But if he fails to win against Denims, then Denims is gonna get like a fucking second wind, right? And like Ethan Klein is going to get fucking screwed in the court of public opinion. He's gonna get screwed in reputation further, a lot further now, significantly more than he is now. But anyways, I don't think that he ever intended for it to go this far. I think he intended for these people to like immediately settle after a couple of months.
It's because it's not really about the fucking Turkey Tom stuff, okay? Nicholas, as you saw, has had a problem with me for fucking months. He's had a problem with me for months. He's had a problem with me taking little jabs about the EHD shit and saying little bits and pieces here and there and talking shit.
Okay, look, I'm willing to. I'm like 90% sure. I am 90% sure. I am like 90% sure that that Ethan Klein expected Denims to fold, Frogan to fold, and KNC Tron to fold immediately, because if Ethan Klein wins based on the arguments that he's attempting to utilize, such as sufficient commentary, such as sufficient transformation, such as relevance or education based on the topic at hand, or being fairly adequately educated on these topics to give proper commentary on it. If he wins on any of those arguments, if those arguments are legitimately utilized in court, do you know what that means? Do you know what that means for content creation as a whole, and like for people like Nicholas Deorio, for people like Ethan Klein himself? Dude, people are gonna fucking people are going to like fucking take out Ethan Klein to the fucking like town square and fucking hang him. No, nobody's gonna be cool with that if Ethan Klein wins. If Ethan wins, he is fucked. If Ethan wins this lawsuit, sure, he wins this lawsuit. But he is fucked the moment creators start catching on to like the precedents being set in that court case. If he wins, he's fucked. It's like a lose-lose situation. I know for a fact that Ethan Klein wanted these people to settle, because if he wins, he's fucked, and if he loses, he's fucked. There's no way he comes out looking good in either of these situations. Whoa, Cine Bear apology. That might be content for tomorrow, Hick Fury. Oh, it's only 8 minutes. Fine. We'll take a look at it. In a little bit. We'll take a look at it in a little bit after I'm done with my Chud Logic Nicholas Deorio segment, because I think I have stuff right now for this Chud Logic stuff that nobody has covered yet.
And so he's waited and waited and waited and waited. He's waited until I've gone away on holiday so he can do his little gay trick that he does.
Yes, if Ethan wins, people like Nicholas Deorio are screwed. If Ethan wins, even people like Ethan Klein are screwed because that means they have to make 100% original content from this point forward. If Ethan wins, what does that mean for commentary creators who utilize clips to create large commentary videos, right? What does that mean for that? I mean, there's already precedent set for that, right? But it would probably be like you would probably have to be treading a lot more waters based on like what's being like stated, right? Like if the education, or rather the amount of information or like the amount of expertise required is really like a measurement for something being fair use. What does that mean for somebody who's making like just like a criticism piece on somebody, where they're just giving opinions and takes about how somebody conducts themselves poorly? Like all of a sudden, do you have to be an expert in like? Obviously, I'm being like bad faith there, right? I'm obviously being like exaggerating my argument more than it should be, exaggerated. But it is a cause for concern. It is a cause for concern that in the future, if Ethan Klein's wins, it might be like a lot more difficult to like actually make content. It might be a lot more difficult to actually like make streams like these.
Where he burns the bridge, the person can't really respond immediately, okay? And now he can just go, oh, I've dealt with that, and doesn't have to address or talk about anything if he doesn't want to. Maybe he will, I don't know. Yes, I took some jabs at him. Dude, when did it become so valorized to be a hypersensitive fucking cowardly pussy, dude? What is this? Oh, you were...
True. When yes, people fucking bitch and complain about Ian Joma. Right? People bitch and complain about Ian Joma being like, a fucking sensitive pussy that argues against everything, or that like, fucking responds to the trolls and whatnot. Or that like, that developed empathy at like, 30 years old, or whatever fucking joke you want to add here. But all of a sudden when Nicholas Deorio, like, when Nicholas Deorio gets a little bit of shit, all of a sudden it's like it's okay for him to fight back because he feels hurt. All right.
Taking jabs at him. Bro, it's the fucking commentary community, bro. That's what happens. You talk shit about each other. You call each other all sorts of names. You call each other all sorts of fucking names, and you have some fucking shit talk about backwards and forwards. And then you hash it out. You maybe talk about it on stream, make a bit of content out of it, and move forward.
True.
And move forward, and that's the end of it. It doesn't have to be a big fucking deal. But for Nicholas, it is. And dude, Nicholas takes jabs at people all the fucking time, bro. But you can't hack it. Dude, how many people is this fucking loser blocked on Twitter, bro? How many people in chat have been blocked by Nicholas Deorio? How many people in chat have been blocked by Nicholas Deorio on Twitter? How many people have been banned from his chat? He's a thin-skinned fucking cowardly pussy, bro. He cannot fucking take it, dude. He is the classic example of he dishes it out and he can't fucking take it. He can't fucking take the heat, bro. Why do you... Okay, answer me this. Why did he wait until I was on holiday to talk about me using material that was already out for weeks? The stuff that he was talking about was stuff I'd streamed roughly when the Turkey Tom allegations first happened.
It's not even a schizo post. It's like very evident. It's very evident that's exactly what he was doing. Like he waited for him to go on holiday to like take his shots back.
Why didn't he talk about it then? Well, he did talk about it then. Because you know what he did? He came to my fucking DMs and was moaning at me about it. And we had a backwards and forwards about the whole thing. Twice. We privately spoke about this sweeping shit twice privately. 1-to-1 and in a fucking group chat. He waited for Turkey Tom's response so he could create this impression that I'd been undermined by it, which is ridiculous, as you'll see in a minute, okay? And then he obviously waited until I was away so that he could launch his attack against me, say all the shit that he wanted about me, and then go, yep, that's dealt with, bridge burnt, and then not have to deal with any of the fucking blowback. It's so fucking obvious, dude. It's so transparent. He is a conflict avoidant, hypersensitive fucking pussy, dude. And
true. I don't even have to say anything here. I basically already said all this
for fucking months and months and months at this point. He does not want to be challenged. He does not want to be challenged on any of the shit that he's doing, okay? He is suckling shekels out of Ethan Klein's cock like nobody's fucking business, okay? And the moment someone starts challenging him too much on it, he cuts it off. It's done. It's done. He doesn't want to fucking hear it, bro. He doesn't want to fucking hear it, bro, okay? He's done it with other people, and now he's done it with me. Do you know one of the things that we spoke about in DMs, right? In a joking way, I made a bit of a joke about it, but I floated the idea of maybe having a conversation on stream about this stuff. The EHD stuff, fucking all of it, all of the shit that's been going on over the past few months. Because I figured there seems to be no way to resolve this fucking tension that's between us. I thought we could go our separate ways, but apparently not. Apparently that's not possible. So maybe that's the only way. Maybe that's the only way we could actually resolve this. And he said he didn't want to have a gay...
Should I turn? Wait, I have like some current, like, you know, background drama that I got going on in my server right now. But I'm not sure if I should, like, you know, leak this. I'm not sure if I should turn this into content. I'm not sure if I should talk about this right now. Nah, I can't actually. I lied to you. I'm sorry. Everybody's about to fucking, like, tomato post in my fucking chat right now because I was like, yeah, I got some content, and then I can't because then fucking Kathy would rape me. Yeah, Kathy would rape me if I talked about this. Fuck. 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 Hold on. Fuck, what's Kathy's at? Because I have a different account. Jimmy! This Gamma guy is scared of content. I mean, this would be good content. This would be really, really good content, actually. But I need to know if I can talk about it from Kathy. Because Aiden already argued about it. On Jimmy O's stream in the channel in the chat right now. Jimmy O's stream in the chat. Hold on. Jimmy O's stream in the chat. Sorry for, like, the little derail. It's a little derail, but if we can turn this into content, it'll be worth it. Jimmy O, shout out Jimmy O. Please go subscribe to Jimmy O in the link that I sent right here. At Cheddar. The if Kathy gives me permission, fuck, I might even bring Kathy on to talk about it. Okay? I might even bring Kathy on to talk about it if they want to talk about it. Might be interesting.
Conversation about the friendship allegations, but he would perhaps talk to me about the Turkey Tom allegations if he covered it in a way that I disagreed with or something like that. And now, obviously, I'm assuming he's never going to talk to me again. That's my guess. Do you actually have a problem with him farming? No, I do not have it. So this is another thing I just want to debunk, okay? This idea that I've got a problem with people farming things, okay? I've never had an issue with someone farming the fuck out of something, okay? I do not care if someone farms a topic to the ends of the fucking earth, as long as there's honesty and credibility in doing that, right? As long as there's honesty and credibility in doing that. Do you think Nicholas Deorio's Ethan Klein coverage has got honesty and integrity? I'll ask you, and you can fucking decide. I'll ask you, and you can determine whether you think there's honesty and integrity in the coverage that he's doing. And that is the fundamental issue. There's this bullshit fucking thing that he and others do, where it's like, well, you farm this, and you farm that. You farm this, and you farm that. Yeah, farming isn't the problem. It's the way that you farm it, and whether you do it with honesty and integrity. And the thing is, maybe Nicholas is honest and has integrity with his coverage. But the problem is, he won't let anyone challenge him on it in an actual conversation. Why didn't you say that before? I've said to Nicholas repeatedly that I've got some issue with his coverage on certain topics, but it's never been enough for me to make a big fucking meal out of. But apparently, he felt differently, and he did want to make a big meal out of it. But only when I was away on holiday, so I couldn't respond straight away, because he's a fucking pussy. Okay? He wanted to wait until I was away, so he didn't have to deal with the immediate blowback of me talking shit about him. Because now, he can just ignore me and go, well, I've dealt with that now. And I'm just another person that's fucking backstabbed him or something.
Is that a pregnant purple woman emoji? What the fuck? That exists? Oh, it's a black woman.
He's a hypersensitive coward. He's conflict avoidant. I can be conflict avoidant. I'm not even saying I'm innocent of being conflict avoidant in all of this, okay? But he relies on a friendship with you in order to, you know, make you feel bad about even taking a couple of shots at him publicly over his coverage of a topic. It's fucking ridiculous, bro. It's wretched. It's totally fucking wretched, dude. Dude, there are other creators.
I don't think that I need to keep watching this, to be honest. I think he's everything here we've already like pretty much discussed. Let's go past this. Trying to keep you guys entertained.
You liked and you could get on with and you could have disagreements with. Turns out that's not the case and they've not liked you for fucking months. But I'm glad the band-aid's off now. We can stop the silly song and dance. We don't have to do this silly game where you act like you're my friend so you can keep tabs on me and make sure that I don't fucking turn on you. Dude, it's so fucking wretched.
Which, yeah, it's exactly what's going on.
My god, dude, it's pathetic. Totally pathetic behaviour. But people think it's based somehow. I don't understand. I don't get it. How is this based? How is moaning about people's screenshot on your fucking Discord server? How is that, like, the base thing to do now in commentary, apparently? So, yes, it is unfortunate to have another friend part ways with you. It's more unfortunate that they choose to do it in a way that they, you know, line up their attack with you going on holiday so they can do it without getting immediate blowback and then act like it's dealt with and you've moved on and that's it. But in some ways, it's good the band-aid is off. Just show the fucking message of Nick saying Tom held the video for a week, please. Oh, wait, what? You mean this message? I called Tom early on, told him my terms and what needed to be fake for us to maintain a friendship. He assured me he was innocent, while allegations were still dropping. I heard talks of the phone call he leaked and what was inside of it. I watched this...
Called Tom early on, told him any terms and what needed to be fake for us to maintain a friendship. What needed to be fake for us to maintain a friendship. He assured me he was innocent while What do you... This is probably a typo, so I'm not gonna, like, fucking hold this too hard against him. I don't want to read this as it, like, you know, whatever. I want to be impartial here. I heard talks of the phone call he leaked and what was inside of it. I watched this completed video on January 27th. I planned for the stream it on Friday, but you kept accusing Tom of more shit. I think that was why it was delayed. I checked in with Tom Monday and asked when is it dropping because I didn't hear her expression. He said now. Video is, to my understanding, unchanged from the 27th.
Completed video on January 27th. I planned to stream it Friday, but she kept accusing Tom of more shit. I think that was why it was delayed. I checked in with Tom Monday and asked when is it dropping because I hadn't heard pestered him. He said now. The video is, my understanding, unchanged from the 27th. So wait, the video was ready on the 27th and then it was unchanged for a week and then got released. Is that right? The Tuesday before...
Okay, this is completely irrelevant to what we care about. I don't really care about any of this stuff besides, like, you know, future Tom discrepancies. This is completely irrelevant to me. I don't give a fuck. Let's look into... Now that we're done with that, right? We're not done yet. Be very, very clear. I still want to keep you guys entertained. We're not quite done yet. Now that we're done with that, we have a couple of clips linked to us by former Nicholas Deorio fallen fan. Orpheus. We got some clips. Wow, Gamma. Wow. Yes. We have content. Let's take a look at this.
About it back then.
Guys, I don't think that Nick cares about Chud's retarded video, which is great. All right, so just to address this, Chud didn't release like a video on me. Chud took, I think Chud's editor, DK, clipped his 2-hour crybaby rant.
No fucking, wow, yeah, no fucking shit. 2-hour crybaby rants. Nicholas does not get to fucking call, I mean, Chud Logic was being a crybaby, right? Like, I'm not even gonna lie. I'm not even gonna lie. Chud Logic was being like a little bit too emotional. I'm not gonna hold it against him. I think it's entirely fine for somebody to be emotional, especially when they've when they feel like they've been slighted to that high of a degree. Even if he was being a little bit bitch made, even if he was being like a little bit gay about it or crybaby about it, I don't care. Right? That's fine. It's fine. It's perfectly fine that he was. But for all people to be saying little crybaby rants, of all people to be saying that, Nicholas Deorio cannot be the one saying it. And Mr. I block tens of thousands of people because I'm slightly offended or because I refuse to engage with somebody. Mr. I'm going to reach out to Nicholas Deorio, to Chud Logic over the smallest bit of banter, over the smallest bit of joke or ridicule. I don't want to hear it from this bit.
Thankfully, this is probably why it took so long to upload, so it was right before I was streaming. I think it took them that long to cut it down to a 40-minute crybaby rant.
The best commentator of the year.
It took them that. Okay, there's no way he's gonna talk about editing when he doesn't even do like when he doesn't even edit anything. This guy just cuts, you know, point A to point B and is done with it. He doesn't do like any additional work.
What's the over-under for her viewers? More Ian or less?
Thank you. Yeah, I think Anissa might pull more.
Did I just say what? Did I just say what? Did I just say what?
That's fine. No, but I think for the Chud logic thing.
Can I say something to you, Nick?
Jesus Christ.
I really like you.
Thank you.
Why?
Yeah, they clipped his 2-hour crybaby rant down to a 40-minute crybaby rant. And honestly, I think that the best thing I could possibly say is I fully endorse you just going to watch it. I think if you sit down and you actually enjoy the video in front of you, hopefully they cut out a lot of the points where he was screaming, "Why am I malicious? I'm not malicious! What are you talking about, mate? Well, what part of this is malicious? I went on vacation!" If they cut out a lot of that, it might actually be somewhat watchable. But the version that I watched, not watchable. So maybe you might have better mileage.
90% of Nicholas Deorio's content is just him fucking having derails about stuff that doesn't matter, covering shit that's fucking unwatchable.
But I think if you go and watch it, you'll find out very quickly that everything I said he was going to do was true. So my recommendation...
What did you say what he was going to do? What did you say he was going to do? Nicholas Deorio said nothing of value in regards to Chud logic.
...is just watching it. I've heard nothing but good things.
It is Holy Cope. It is Holy Cope. He's doing the Tommy C. I'm going to be very, very vague about this narrative that I said a week ago. That most of my audience is not going to fucking remember. And then I'm going to like say that I was right about it.
Things for the people who've already seen it.
Yeah.
And it kind of creeped me out a bit, to be honest. So
Yeah.
I am going to be streaming next week to the delight of many creepy people.
And to the delight of many normal people.
Yes.
No. It's to the delight of many creepy people, me. But all the like some normal people.
Whoa. Nicholas Deorio like creeping on women? Confirmed? To the delight of many creepy people? Nicholas Deorio? Nicholas Deorio... Nicholas Deorio likes creepy... Like, is a fucking creep and creeps on women? Woo. Let's see what we got here.
He was screaming, "Why am I malicious? I'm not malicious! What are you talking about, mate?"
Oh, that was it.
What part of this is recommendation is just watching it. I've heard.
All right.
Yeah.
And
So that was Nicholas Deorio's response. I'm not sure how much more there is to that. But that's it. That's basically the Nicholas Deorio stuff. He's a bitch-made loser, coward, fuck, idiot. We're not gonna go on the conclusion. We're just gonna skip straight ahead to the next content because if I don't, we're gonna be here all night. And I know there's a little bit of extra shit that we can talk about tonight before we wrap it up. All right, the victims deserve a better apology. Final apology by Cinebear. Now, to be very clear, I haven't followed any of the Cinebear or like any of the Birdie drama, so this is gonna be probably content that's gonna be better suited for Chud to cover tomorrow, since I know Chud is gonna has been all over this shit since the very beginning for the most part. Let's see what we got.
Hello, my name is CineBarrow3. I know this video is probably unexpected, but I've been really unhappy with the last 2 videos I made for a long time now. I made both videos way too soon after everything happened. My first apology video wasn't truly an apology, it was more so a reaction video to my own exposure. And the second response video was heavily puppeted by other people, and that one in particular I really despise. I'm hoping this video will serve as a better response and apology, and hopefully...
Also, real quick, consider joining my server, aka the most active server in the commentary community right now, and the Neo commentary community, that is, in the Neo commentary community, like unironically the most active server in the game right now. We got a super exclusive chat where only cool people get into, where all of the drama breaks first, where we cover all the... Just join the fucking server, dude. It's unironically the best server right now, and that's not even me that's not even me tugging my own dick. That's not even me tugging my own dick, dude. Hold on. That's not even me tugging my own dick. Go tap into general. Go tap into general or go look for Nuki, and we're all there. Tap in.
hopefully it can make up for the previous videos I've made.
Aiden is skinwalking. Aiden, sorry. Shut up, Toki.
I met Enno through another YouTuber, the details of which are not very important. At first, I wasn't very interested in being their friend.
Like we literally got all the goats. We literally got all the goats in our chat right now. We got literally all the goats. We got some of the best chatters of all time. We got Ali Khan. We got Kosher Kathy. We got Dickers. We literally got everybody that fucking matters in here. We got everybody that matters. We even got some big names like Purple Perry Gaming and Nicandros, dude.
While they were persistent in
Why would you not want to be here? Why would you not want to be here? It's fucking peak.
checking in on me and trying to start conversation with me, I wasn't very receptive. It honestly should have stayed that way. However, we started talking a lot more frequently when my interest became the topic of conversation. This is a pattern of behavior I've only been able to recognize recently. I tended to only really interact with people who would indulge in my interests.
That common trait of autism, okay? Very extremely common trait of autism.
Once we started to speak more frequently, I started sharing things with Enno
Big
that I
names like Jimmy
reasonably
O.
shouldn't have. And it quickly devolved into me sending them explicit content. To be absolutely clear, this did not include nude pictures of myself or Enno. I wasn't attracted to Enno in any way. I just shared a lot of explicit artwork with them and written scenarios. I will be honest, saying all of this out loud at this point in time makes me feel ill. While now I can recognize that what I've done is incredibly disgusting, at the time I didn't anticipate the kind of harm that this would do to them. It's gonna sound completely deranged, but I knew
We were visiting Cinebear. Well, yeah, they dropped a final response.
it was wrong in the sense that it was taboo and you weren't allowed to do it, but I didn't exactly see the harm in it. When I was a child, I developed a porn addiction. I was looking at a lot of pornography as a kid, and I didn't exactly see the harm that it had done to me, and so I didn't see the harm in showing it to a child. Enno had already...
Which is unironically, why did I say unironically? Which is unfortunately a very, very, common issue that happens today. It's a very common issue. I'm sure that most of us have been, in middle school, we were 13-year-old fucking little Timmies going to, middle school, and a fucking friend that got, the first iPhone fucking 5, right? Pulls up to us and is like, have you seen this fucking video? Have you seen this insane fucking video going around the internet right now? Do you know about Live Leak? Do you know about 2 Girls, 1 Cup? Do you know about this, and that? Right? I think that to an extended degree, outside of the common exposure to Live Leak or being 13 and your friend showing you something fucked up, I think that on the internet also it's going to be a lot more exaggerated. There's going to be people that have been divulging in pornography since a very young age, have been not seeing an issue with divulging in it for years and years on end, and will then be very, very explicit about their interest or be very explicit about the things that they view and even share it around with people that are either younger or older than them, depending on what grounds, where they stand or who they are with, you know what I mean. There's just going to be very, very common issues, and I think that a lot of people do fail to understand that this is inappropriate behavior that normalizes normalizes people engaging in potentially risky situations, right? Potentially, because let's say you're a fucking 12-year-old on the internet and you play Xbox with somebody who's 15. You guys go on Discord to talk about video games and shit, and you have a friend group consisting of 10, 20 people. Let's say that this 15-year-old distributes pornography within that Discord server because everybody has access to the internet. Everybody can access a horrible shit. They don't know any better because they're obviously children. They're sending shit to each other, and boom, all of a sudden that shit's normalized to you. This type of shit is normalized to you, and now you're open to a world where potentially you start engaging in more open communities on the internet, and then somebody takes advantage of the fact that this is normalized to you and then grooms. Right? I feel like this type of dynamic is extremely common. Not a lot of people not a lot of people see the harm being done, why they're so willing to just engage in it. It doesn't mean that it's okay, but it means that I understand why it happens so so easily for somebody like fucking Cinebear, who's obviously a mentally ill retard that never understood what proper social cues or what proper interactions look like.
Seen bits of my graphic work before they were talking to me, and they showed interest in wanting to see more, and so I didn't see the issue. I shouldn't have been talking to Enno at all. I'm now a lot more aware of what this kind of stuff can do to a developing mind, and I'm honestly truly devastated knowing that Enno will have to carry this with them for the rest of their life because of what I did. Enno looked up to me and called me their big sister.
Ew!
I feel so awful.
Holy shit, ew!
I feel so
Holy
ashamed
fuck.
knowing that I've betrayed their trust like this. I really
So I do loosely remember this drama, mainly because I watched Chud Logic cover it. I do loosely remember that Cinebear engaged somewhat sexually with a minor at the time. I believe they were like 14 to 16 years of age, if I recall correctly. Somebody correct me. With Cine being like 19 or 20. And she was essentially like drawing fan art, or not drawing fan art, but like sending fan art of like, very, very like, lewd or sexual images to this minor. It
wish
was
I could
14.
go
It was 14. Okay.
back and erase what I've done, but I know I can't. I feel even
Yeah.
worse knowing that the last words they've probably heard me say on this channel was me downplaying my own actions and making it out like they wanted this.
Jar over here. Well, if you really think about it, it wasn't that bad. You didn't groom this minor if you really think about it, because grooming is very intentional. If you really think about it, you didn't really groom this minor. You just sent inappropriate images, even though what you were doing was actually like opening them up to potential grooming in the future. And obviously you felt like, as you're admitting, you felt like allured to this. You felt like this was a taboo, thing that you can like dabble in, and it probably would have opened the doors for you doing worse things in the future. So
That our last conversations were full of me self-pitying over the consequences and subsequent fallout.
I blame Jar. I blame Jar for making Cinebear feel like she had the potential to like, sweep for herself.
Of my own actions, making NL blame themselves for what I was going through. I regret everything that came out of this situation. The fact that it happened at all and the way I handled it afterwards. Whether NO can hear this themselves or if they're having a friend relay this back to them, I really hope they'll know just how sorry I am that I've done this. I'm sorry for showing you the things that I showed you. I'm sorry I kept in contact with you for so long. I'm sorry I had my emotional outbursts where you could clearly see them. I'm sorry I made you feel the need to blame yourself for what I was going through. I never ever wanted you to think that this was your fault. I really truly hope that you're able to heal. And I hope you make friends who treat you better than I did. Now,
It wasn't really Jar. Kumo got in her ear first. No, wait, you're right. You're right. You're right. It was Kumo. You're fucking... How could I forget that? How could I forget that? You're fucking right.
while what I did to NO was one of my most egregious things I've done, they are far from the only person I've hurt. There are other people I feel the need to apologize to. This segment is in regards to any and all friends I've ever had in the past. There's honestly too many to count and too many to name. As far back as I can remember, I've always had this repeated dynamic with some of the friends I've had.
Did you goon with who? With Kumo? No. I kind of like heard rumors in the background about Kumo doing cut slut stuff, and then I remember typing in Chud's chat saying, "Isn't this guy like a fucking freak? Isn't this guy a fucking weirdo?" And then I DM'd Chud about it, and he was like, "Yeah, you're right. I did hear about this stuff," or something along those lines.
It was very common for me to discuss
Did you goon with? Oh, that was a code.
sexual topics with my friends. And while this can be normal for friendships, I would talk about sex and my sexual fantasies constantly, to the point where I've neglected my duties as a friend in favor of using my friends as an outlet for my
Whoa, female BPD gooner. Where have we seen this before?
sexual desires. I didn't realize just how badly I was mistreating my friends until way later. As I've mentioned previously, I've had an addiction to these sexual materials for a large portion of my life, so I just wouldn't stop talking about it. I did care about my friends. I just really didn't treat them well. And I'm sorry. I think I've gotten a lot better at handling my addiction. I'm still hypersexual and struggle with intrusive thoughts, but I've found better outlets that don't involve other people. I've gotten better at prioritizing my friends.
I found better outlets that don't involve other people. yeah, I goon in my room all day. Holy shit. What a fucking... Dude, what an embarrassing fucking video.
And I'm trying really hard to be a good friend to the people I care about. And I wish I could have done that sooner. Since we're on the subject of friends I've mistreated, I do want to talk about Jack for a little bit. While I don't believe my actions would be considered SA, I do think there was a lack of communication when it came to touching. Despite our best efforts to communicate effectively, there were things that I missed or didn't take seriously. I think a lot of people could see that we were fairly intimate with each other. In all honesty, we didn't have very clear boundaries with each other. Jack had admitted to me one time that he didn't even know what his boundaries were. We felt comfortable exploring that territory together. Jack has claimed that I've made touches that he didn't consent to and that he said no to, and I believe I told him that I thought he was joking when he told me no. My memories of these instances were pretty fuzzy, and they still are, even more so now.
This does sound like somebody who does struggle with hypersexuality, being too intimate and potentially like crossing boundaries. with somebody that they perceive as being open to like sexual interactions because they don't know what proper consent looks like.
There's a chance I was misreading his tone, and that's why I thought he was joking. Whatever my intentions were,
This is like actual rapist mentality. This is like unironic rapist mentality. I didn't know that when you said no, you were being serious and that it was actually a bad thing. I didn't know that. I didn't know that you saying no was actually you just joking around and giving me permission to do it anyway. So holy fuck.
I can tell that I've clearly hurt him. I never wanted Jack to feel uncomfortable, and I do feel sorry for not being able to recognize his discomfort. I also want to apologize for some of the threats I had made after he left. At the start of my exposure, I was filled with really intense feelings of betrayal and rage, and I said a lot of things that I didn't really mean. I angrily said I wanted to kill Jack multiple times. I never intended to follow through with those statements. I was only speaking out of hurt. Some people were showing concern that I had bought a bunch of weapons one night. None of those weapons were meant for Jack. I just bought them to make myself feel safer in my house.
Bought a bunch of weapons? Like were they just knives, guns, or just... Who fucking cares if you just have knives?
In my response video, I had an incredibly disturbing take on my own involvement with Sock.Clip and the way I was treating her.
Who are these people? Who the fuck is Sock.Clip?
Her characters.
I know about these other people because it became because Chud covered all of these stories, but who the fuck is Sock.Clip?
My response boiled down to a few key ideas. Sock's boundaries are stupid and unreasonable. She blocked me, so why can't I just post what I want since she doesn't have to see it? Me not being able to post my art featuring her characters is an infringement on my creative freedom and expression. This way of thinking is extremely entitled, childish, and of course it completely ignores the consent of Sock.Clip. I had to reflect on this for a long time before I finally understood why I was wrong for saying this, and it was incredibly difficult to confront. In truth, I think I came to those conclusions because I was imposing my own view of the internet and how it functions onto Sock.
Wanted to buy a gun off Gilded Poos so they can defend themselves. There's no way that's true. There's no way that's true. You're lying to me. You're lying to me right now. What did Gilded Poos say? Hey, what did Gilded Poos say? Why? You're lying to me right now. That's not real.
In my time on the internet, I have never seen artist consent being taken seriously. Not my own, and definitely not the consent of others. I've come to realize, however, that just because I've grown to be apathetic toward the concept of boundaries on the internet, it is not and has never been my place to dictate how others should feel about their characters being used by other people. I don't know if I'll fully understand how any of these people feel, but I shouldn't have to understand it in order to show respect to fellow artists and their boundaries. I think it's a bit upsetting that I've come to this realization at all, especially so late into my life on the internet. I want it to be known that I'm genuinely sorry for blatantly disrespecting the consent of Sock.Clip and being so openly disrespectful toward them and for setting boundaries in the first place. I've been struggling to understand what exactly I want from this video. I've wanted to make an apology video for a long time, but it's been really difficult to revisit everything that happened. I've also been scared that making this video would only serve to make me feel better and just reopen old wounds for the people I hurt. I don't know what will come of this video, but I hope I can give everyone some peace of mind knowing that I've learned a very painful but ultimately needed lesson. I know I've hurt a lot of people, both directly and indirectly, and I want everyone to know that I'm sorry. I don't want to hurt any more people. And I honestly think I've come a very long way from where I was before. It's been a difficult process, unlearning my harmful behaviors, and it took longer than I'd like to stop feeling sorry for myself.
I think Sock was also a minor. 10 of Tim Studios. Hey, hello.
Long enough to truly reflect on what I had done and why I did it. I meant what I said when
I don't care about this anymore. It seems like a rational enough apology where this person has made like a decent amount of learning. Is the apology ever going to be accepted? No. Is this person ever going to have a valuable return to the internet? No. This video is I mean, I don't know. I don't know what else there is to say about this. I feel like this is an inadequate enough apology. What more do you want them to say? I'm gonna go fucking die in a ditch and atone for my sins by killing myself. You're sweeping too hard. What do you mean I'm sweeping too hard? They're literally saying I felt like they're literally saying I am a porn addict that struggles with boundaries, and I willingly engaged in things that I recognized as bad. I apologize for doing these things. I apologize for sexually assaulting somebody. I apologize for disregarding the consent of people. I feel like I've learned a lot. I apologize to these people for doing these things. That's it. What do you want me? Yeah, it's adequate, but it's pointless. Like, what do you want? Ultimately, they would have just been better off just never, like, being on the internet ever again, sure. But it's an apology nonetheless. Usually when people, people were desperately hoping that this person would, give a response worthy of people's times instead of, just trying to alleviate heat from herself back in the day. She gives an adequate apology. What the fuck more do you want to hear? What do you want to hear? I can't go too hard. I can't go too hard. The apology is exactly what you would expect from a situation like that. I'm not gonna tell him to go fucking die in a ditch.
All right, what? He called on the decoy phone, right?
Clavicular frame mongs by Tally, pedophile hunter leader in Florida, dude.
Who? Whoever.
Height and frame mongs, dude. Bro. Look, height and frame mongs.
This is one of the craziest sketches ever because we got into the pedophile's house.
Yeah. Is that? Yeah. Is it the first time?
But he said at the end that. Oh.
Yeah. And then complied. Yeah. He gave us.
We just have the sprinter pull up here. My truck is coming down this way. So if you
you don't think we pushed the boundaries going inside his house? He invited us. I said, can we go for a talk? He says, yeah.
All right, that's it for the stream. Appreciate y'all for being here. Love you all. We're rather love the attention, love the support. Wait. Romantic Goblin. Hey, Pooh, would you be up to sell someone a gun? No, lol, why? They aren't blank. That has nothing to do with it. I just don't own an armory. What a fucking retard. What a fucking idiot. That's so fucking funny. That's such a That's such a funny fucking screenshot exchange. Would you be up to sell someone a gun? Good one, bro. Yeah, that's it for the stream. I got nothing else to cover. Appreciate you all being here. But before I leave, I do want to say, once again, join the Discord server if you haven't. Drop a quick message in gen chat and general chat of the server, and I will personally add you to the super exclusive chat. Okay, the best chat in all of commentary. Appreciate you all. I'm gonna raid Rezi because there's nobody else that's alive. Fuck, dude, I really want to play. I really wanted to play Mugenics on stream while covering the Deorio stuff, but I got too locked into the Deorio stuff. Anyways, appreciate you all. Take it easy. Bye.